Hey guys, welcome back to the Mainstream Indie Music channel. Before we talk about Keane, I just wanted to take a quick moment here and kind of open up to you guys. Obviously, on the history of this channel, I have not once put up my face. There's a lot of reasons for that. I just want to stay a private person online. I mean, heck, I haven't even told you my name or anything like that. And I understand that it's a little unorthodox for YouTube channels to kind of have that. A lot of times creators want to kind of put themselves out there. But, like I said, for kind of just private reasons, I refuse to do that. But at the same time, I still get very passionate about the topics that I talk about on this channel. And it's funny because every single time I feel like we kind of hit a plateau on this channel, which, I try not to focus on, which I've talked about in the past. But, obviously I'm human. It gets to me sometimes. It seems like right when I hit that point, all of a sudden the channel just explodes in like another way that I couldn't even foresee coming. And this week with Keane, um, this is a topic that means a lot to me because they've actually been a band I've been thinking a lot about recently, especially with their hit song, Somewhere Only We Know. That song has just really been speaking to me in this period of time in my life. I'm about to turn 35, and maybe just kind of because of talking with friends my age, coworkers my age, it's like we talk a lot about just like how, obviously you kind of hit this age where, you can sense like you don't move as fast as you used to. You don't bounce back from injury like you used to. You kind of move a little bit slower. You're a little bit more tired than you used to be. And definitely, you could stay up more and so on and so forth. And this song, and plus two, just with a lot of obstacles that I go through in my personal life over the last couple of years, this song has always been a great comfort to me because it just like the lyrics say, like he literally says in the chorus, I'm getting older and I need something to rely on, and it's like he's speaking universally across the world to just, I feel like people in this same predicament. And of course, you can be younger as well. I'm not just saying older ones, but I really feel like this song is really meant for people either going through a hard time and kind of reminisce, or just kind of as you grow older, you kind of reminisce over your time period looking back. But sorry, guys, that kind of took a little bit out of the video this week. I just wanted to take a moment and say that, it just means a lot to me. But without further ado, let's get to Keane. Now, Keane consists of Tom, Tim, and Richard, mostly, especially in the beginning of the band. And Keane is very different than a lot of rock bands, and especially amongst early indie rock bands, because you think of bands back then like the Strokes, even guys like Franz Ferdinand, Arctic Monkeys, Black Keys, and so forth. It was very guitar driven, and like the 4-man band and so on and so forth, double guitars and drummer along with the singer. Keane kind of just took all that and just threw it out the window. They wanted the piano to be front and center, and that was a risky move because also back then, if you were to do that, you kind of ran the risk of just kind of being called like a Coldplay copy, or a Radiohead copy, like, oh, you guys are just trying to use like piano and synth a lot, and that's what those guys do. Well, that's also what Keane wanted to do, so it's the early 2000s. Hopes and Fears came out in 2004, and I don't think Keane had any idea at all when that album was released how massive that album is. I mean, honestly, I revisited that album kind of doing research into this video, kind of reminiscing and going over things. And I mean, honest to God, especially the very first half of that album, I was just like, are you serious? Like, this is on this album too? And I felt like I said that like 5 or 6 times. Like it just an absolutely amazing, amazing album. Um, and Keane just hit the ground running. Like they literally just wanted to keep recording, keep playing all the time. Well, what's interesting is Tom especially did not do well with this sudden rise of fame and secretly had been battling addiction, which he decided eventually to go to rehab for. And what's really cool is rather than maybe breaking up the band, rather than maybe, the rest of the bandmates kind of just saying, like, like, well, hey, like, we of course support him getting help for his treatment, but like, we're simply kind of just going to go on hiatus and just kind of leave him be. Um, the band stuck with him. They supported him. They did not break apart and fall apart. They kind of just saw like he needed the help and they wanted to be there for him. And so Keane kept going, even with him getting and receiving help as well. Perfect Symmetry was released in 2008. I know a lot of Keane fans are always kind of divided about that album because Keane decided to uh, really change. Like they didn't want to kind of just be known as that band, like, oh, you guys are the piano playing guys. Like they wanted to kind of experiment with synth a lot, and that's really highlighted on that album. They took a long time between albums as well, but honestly, they were just mostly on the road, and then, of course, if Tom needed more help with his addiction problems, he would go receive the help that he needed. Strangeland was released in 2012, and they did kind of return back to their old sound. Um, and then they went on hiatus. They kind of were just done with the pressure of the industry. Each individual member kind of wanted to just pursue their own projects, but they returned in 2019. I apologize as well. Take back a year there, 2011. I might have jumped ahead, but they did release an album in 2019 as well, and they've just kind of been touring. What's really cool is because of social media, because of, TV, radio play of reminiscing of those early 2000s. Somewhere Only We Know especially has kind of regained a second life and is very popular amongst like younger and younger generations. And so Keane just keeps going. They keep performing. They're still performing to this day. What do you guys think of Keane? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you all next week. Peace.